Welcome in, baby boys.
No.
Welcome in. Hello. Welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I'm your mayor of PHNX. This is my vice mayor. He's also known as your Thunderstick, the one and only Jesse Friedman.
The baby was rocked, Derek.
The baby
and
was
this time
rocked.
it was not by Josh Naylor.
It was not. It was not. He knows who his daddy is now, though. Of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Welcome in, folks. Of course, we have just the worst case scenario happening, just the darkest timeline in the American League. The Yankees advance, and we are sad about it because we already missed the Cleveland Guardians and all of their shenanigans, all of the joy that they brought us on being in this underdog team amongst the highest spenders in Major League Baseball. But alas, their journey is over. Shout out to Kirsten Susel for being a Cleveland fan and not having the ability to even watch that game. But the Yankees do advance. We still love the Guardians, of course, and more than anything, I think we love Josh Naylor more than we did before. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Josh Naylor in Game 4, was it? Was it Game 4?
Game 4.
He brought out Rockin' the Baby after he hit
The
a home
Guardians
run.
were still trailing after his home run,
They
too.
were.
It was a pretty bold move on his part.
Bullish, if you will.
I'm convinced that there are many people who had no idea who Josh Naylor was before that happened, and now basically every baseball fan knows who Josh Naylor is at this point. And to be frank, Josh Naylor is not that good of a baseball player. It was, as you said, a very bullish move for him to come out and do this, especially while his team is trailing. I think some people have made the argument that Josh Naylor doesn't have the track record. He doesn't have the resume in his baseball career to do things like that. I don't agree with that. I'm on board with whatever celebration a guy wants to do. I think baseball absolutely needs more of that in the game. The flip side is that I also believe that you have to be prepared to deal with the consequences of doing something like that. And Josh Naylor was hit hard in the face with those consequences at Yankee Stadium last night with thousands of Yankees fans joining in. It was quite a spectacle at Yankee Stadium when the Yankees got the last out, and everyone in the ballpark, it seemed like, was doing that. But
chanting "Who's your daddy?" at Naylor, and honestly, those were the consequences that he ordered, and he got them. And here is the at least my favorite part about it is after the game when he was asked about the people chanting "Who's your daddy?" at him, he actually appreciated it. Naylor said, "That was awesome. That was so sick. That was honestly like a dream come true as a kid. The fact that I got that going through the whole stadium, I think that was sick." And
I love that response.
I love the enthusiasm, right? Like it could have been a very PR response, you know what I mean? But he honestly sounds like he was fucking jazzed about that. Like there are times, especially speaking as someone that has worked in an industry where you purposefully try to get people to boo you, right? In pro wrestling, not this podcast, not this show.
That explains so much.
It really
Derek.
does. It really does about me. But there is a lot of joy in getting like people who should be against you to like really be against you, right? It's fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, he handled it, I think, in the best possible way that any player could handle a situation like that.
I think, Josh Naylor completely knew what he had coming. I mean, when you're facing the New York Yankees and you're about to play a Game 5 in their stadium, like
he lit the fuse. He lit the fuse.
Yeah,
with this thing,
you absolutely know
Yeah.
what you have coming. The Yankees fans are not forgiving for anyone who is not already aware of that
You should know
somehow.
that already.
Yeah, you probably should. Conspiracy Hippie says the amount of people that complained about that was annoying. Talking about the Josh Naylor Rockabye Baby thing. The Cleveland Guardians are super young and had half the salary of the Yankees and dragged them to a Game 5. Not even half the salary.
I was going to say you're wrong about that. They have like a third of the salary.
Yeah.
They are the 28th highest payroll in baseball right there. There's that figure for you.
It's less than a third.
Less than a third. So, yeah, let's just keep things into perspective
Math
here.
major Jesse.
There you go.
God, it's so annoying. He knows everything. Anyway, so now we're faced with, again, the darkest possible timeline in the American League. Our fan favorite, the Guardians, are gone. And now we are left to decide who we want to see in the World Series, the Houston Astros or the New York Yankees. And I guess that's our question right now is, who is the lesser of two evils? I feel like the Astros are still followed by the cheating scandal, right? Like,
yes.
It's in the rearview mirror, but it's still back there.
I was listening to ESPN radio on my way home from the Fall League game last night, and I did not hear them use the word Astros once. They called them the trash cans, and that is the exclusive manner in which they referred to the baseball team from Houston. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say there's still some animosity against the Astros for what happened a few years ago.
Meanwhile, why do the Yankees get the hate that they do? Is it simply for being a team that spends a lot of money? Because let's be honest, all the teams left right now have spent a lot of money, even the quote-unquote underdog Philadelphia Phillies. So how is that really a reason to hate the Yankees?
I don't think it's really the money. I think it's just that the Yankees are the Yankees, man. Yeah. It's just like it's just that simple. It's like the Yankees have been around for more than a century, right? I mean, it's the amount of history that franchise has. They've just been around long enough to the point where all the other teams hate them because they've sort of been around long enough to have a beef with basically every other team. Franchise that exists. And they're just like the prototypical big brother, like just the team that nobody can beat, right? Yeah. There have been so many seasons throughout that team's history with the success that they've had where they're just always the overdog, it seems like. And so they're just an easy team to root against because nobody wants to root for the overdog every time unless you're from New York itself, then maybe you would. But
here's a funny thing. In most movies in the 80s that are baseball related movies, the Yankees are the bad guy in the movie at some point.
Yeah, they are the bad guy in the narrative of Major League Baseball. The Yankees are the villain. They are the antagonist. There's no question in my mind about that. And the Astros more recently have also kind of become that for like every franchise in baseball. So I actually do think the Yankees are maybe the underdog here. I think the Yankees are the underdog. I'll just go ahead and say that. But that's not going to change how they're perceived by people, right? Nobody's going to cheer for them for that reason.
No, it's, again, I know you're not going to know this Star Wars analogy, but it's like the evil empire, right? It's generational hate.
I've seen four Star Wars episodes.
Okay, yeah. So it's like even if Darth Vader took a year off, right, of just slaughtering innocent people and destroying planets with his Death Star, you're still going to hate him, right? Like, he might take 5 years off. You still remember what he did to you, right? So,
the Yankees, I will say, their team is pretty likable right now. Do you hate anyone on the Yankees? I think Aaron Judge is great. I don't have any issues with Aaron Judge. I think Garrett Cole is a fascinating man.
Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone to me seems like a very hateable person.
That's true.
Especially if you're like an opposing fan that has had your team lose to the Yankees. I feel like he would probably be a good.
You can't hate on Nestor Cortez.
No, with that mustache? Are you kidding me?
No, not with that mustache.
Absolutely not. Elizabeth says, I hate Yankees fans, not the players. That probably might be.
I respect that.
Respectable.
Yeah.
Can I go back to something that Jesse said? Jesse, if a team is not an underdog, they are a...
Wait, say this again?
If a team is not an underdog, they are a...
They're the overdog, I presume.
Is that an overdog?
Have you ever heard that?
Never in my entire life. And I'm glad you picked up on that. I just glazed over it.
He doubled down or tripled down on it. And I was like, wait.
He said it more than once too, right?
What?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
They're a favorite.
I can say I personally have said that before. But
you've never heard other human beings say it.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone else say it. Out. Yeah.
Jacob, come on, you take a seat. That's the way this works. It's like
am I not allowed to invent my own verb?
No,
I mean, it makes sense.
That's my job, fucker. Like, what are you doing?
Have you heard of Updog?
Have I heard of Updog?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, like the term sounds familiar, but I couldn't really tell you like what that means.
What means?
Up dog.
But ask him,
Jesse,
ask him.
What's up, dog?
I don't know.
Jesse.
Hey, nothing much. What's up with you, dog?
I get it.
Come on. Man.
Did you guys
Jesse.
really think that wouldn't fly right over my head? Everything does. Did you really have that much faith in me in that moment?
It was a classic pull. By the way, Phillies take game 1 in talking about the whole thing that we're talking about here, the postseason, right? And barely win actually, no, they didn't. I was wrong about that. They almost won our poll. We put a poll out there. They took a commanding lead for a while. And look at this shit. D-backs fans, who are you rooting for in the NLCS?
Whoa.
The Padres edge out the Phillies at the end, Jesse. This happened like in this morning in the last few votes. And I'm beside myself here. We were completely on board to be Philly stans going forward, even though
this is kind of conflicting. Can we still be the Philly stan account if we have 50.2% of our audience is rooting for the Padres?
I don't know. I have a problem with that because we haven't had much success with teams that we have rooted for.
What makes you say that?
What makes you say that? Well, Jacob, could you put that graphic up, please? Because I think this very much explains exactly what's going on here. We went from a Diamondbacks account covering that team to a Seattle Mariners stan account to a Guardians stan account. And here I was prepared to knock on the door of being a Phillies stan account. And I don't know, maybe we've cursed them. Maybe you guys voting for the Padres and deciding this has now made the Padres get the kiss of death from this show. I don't know. Like whatever graphics or whatever way me and Jesse feel, those don't count. It's how you guys really feel in your heart of hearts. So Phillies, good luck to you is all I have to say. But we'll figure this out. I mean, me and Jesse still want to be Phillies fans, and we'll give you the reasons why for that. But of course, make sure to check out this guy's wonderful writings over at gophnx.com. If you haven't signed up for a membership already, get yourself an annual membership. You will get a free t-shirt over at the phnxlocker.com like we are both wearing. Look at this lovely guy. The hardest hitting beer. And that one, you know that logo. Of course, you can get whatever t-shirt you want over at the phnxlocker.com with that annual membership. If you get a month-to-month membership, you will get your first month for just 50 cents. Regardless of your membership status, you will get members-only access to our Discord, members-only invitations to certain events, as well as members-only discounts over at the phnxlocker.com. And of course, we thank you guys so much for being here on our PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. We hijacked the Coyotes time slot. And, who knows? Well, maybe we'll hijack the whole network. Day-long marathon, stealing all of the show's time slots. I don't know. We do what we want around here. It's the off season. We have nobody to answer to. But of course, we thank you guys for being here. Make sure that if you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcasting app, you subscribe to us there as well and leave us a review. We appreciate it. I'll say an honest review, but we really want a 5-star review. Let's be honest about that, shall we? Also, shout out to our friends at Chop Shop. It was delicious food that they provided us on Monday. I felt better than I ever have after eating lunch. Is that weird to say? I had brown rice.
That is high praise.
I had sweet potato hash. I had delicious Korean beef. Jesse, I don't eat well. I don't take care of myself well. You know what I mean? And it's like, it was weird having my body actually have nourishment that was healthy and good for me. It kept me pumped up all day long. I wanted to go home and do a third workout of the day. I didn't. I instead fell asleep on the couch. But regardless, you guys should check out Chop Shop. Shout out to them for making delicious food that makes me feel great. So
I feel like eating out, I like when I eat out, I generally get like a burger, something that's not particularly good for you. But it feels good to eat out every once in a while and be like, oh.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah, I was like pretty good.
And go, right? Like,
yeah.
It's up there with the
you guys
salad.
know that about me. I'm a big salad and go advocate, so it just fits.
He's Charles Woodall Pikes that I'm sure Saul would have some questions about a whole network takeover. Sure. Afterwards, but like watch him try to stop me while
we
I'm
would
going
ask
live.
for forgiveness.
Yeah,
not for permission.
we'll ask for forgiveness on that one. But of course, we talked about the Philadelphia Phillies, and of course, tonight is Austin Nola versus Aaron Nola.
It is
brother on brother matchup. It's a civil war, and it's a damn shame that this game is not taking place in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
Get your shit together. together, MLB. You guys want to schedule a fucking game 2 a day apart from game 1 for the Yankees? How did you not figure this out? Like, I don't know. It seems like it's marketing that writes itself, but what do I know? What do I know, Jesse? What I do know is, regardless of what that poll says, we still want to root for the Phillies, and we don't really have good reasons why, but we're going to give you good reasons why, as a D-backs fan, you should feel a little bit better about rooting for the Phillies. Jesse?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'll say that apparently the Padres were having their hitters meeting just a few minutes ago, and Bob Melvin said that Austin Nola will have a significant say in their strategy as they go against Aaron Nola, right? You kind of figure the guy's brother is going to know a thing or two. So that was...
He's got a book this thick.
Yeah.
You know? He has I've been keeping notes my whole life on this cat, you know?
So, yeah, I think it's interesting that Austin Nola is probably going to play some role in San Diego's attack against Aaron Nola tonight. But yeah, as far as the Phillies are concerned, Aaron Nola is very good and Bryce Harper is very good.
Yes.
They have an elite player on both sides of the baseball. Aaron Nola is in the mix for the Cy Young Award. If you look at his peripherals, they're insane. He had a 3.6% walk rate this year, which is basically nothing. I mean, that's very close to the lowest in the league, if not the lowest in the league. And he strikes out tons of guys too. So Aaron Nola is like right up there with Zach Gallen as being one of the best pitchers in all of the National League. Bryce Harper missed some time with injury this year, but was still pretty much himself. And we've seen him have a monstrous postseason so far. Kyle Schwarber hits dingers for days. Doesn't do much else.
It's one of the biggest reasons why you should watch this team and be excited to root for them is they just have
488 feet, Derek. 119.7 miles an hour off the bat. That was Kyle Schwarber's home run into the second deck at Petco Park last night.
Yeah, these guys hit really, really hard. In fact, Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper both have the 2 hardest hit balls in the StatCast era for 2 different teams, both the Washington Nationals and the Philadelphia Phillies.
They just absolutely destroy the ball when they hit it.
And I mean, I get it. Like the Phillies kind of get, from my perspective, they get, as we said before, the underdog, not the overdog or the updog role. But they get the underdog role based on the fact that they were a team that barely made it in to the playoffs. In any other year, they wouldn't have made the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one thing to consider when it comes to this team and what they've done. It's very encouraging if you kind of can put aside the fact that they do have the 4th highest payroll in baseball.
Yeah, can we put up the payroll graphic
up again,
one more time? What exactly is the Phillies number? 255 million. They won 87 games. So Diamondbacks fans, if you want to win 13 more games next year, you have to do is spend $155 million more dollars.
That's it.
Yeah. The cost of winning 13 more games really isn't that high.
Could you imagine what they would do with $155 million more dollars in payroll?
Oh, we could do some podcasts about how they would spend $155 million.
Oh my God. But of course, one thing about this is that the Phillies do have they do have that path that they made it there as being the last one in. And that is something that's fun for baseball. It's fun for teams like the Diamondbacks who are going to still struggle to win the National League West year after year, even going forward, right? So it's never going to be easy with the teams that are in this division, but it just goes to show, especially with the Dodgers' earlier exit, that it really doesn't matter. As long as you get in, you can make an impact in the playoffs. Now, of course, the caveat being $255 million spent, so I won't even get into that. But
isn't that crazy though? That like in some ways the Phillies genuinely bought their way into the National League Championship Series. Like they're on the doorstep of the World Series, and there is not a lot of homegrown talent in that organization.
That's very true.
It's Rhys Hoskins plus a whole bunch of free agents. Aaron Nola also. Aaron Nola is a bunch
of $20 million men, basically.
Yeah, Aaron Nola is a homegrown guy, so I should give credit where credit's due there. But yeah, Zach Wheeler came from outside the organization. Bryce Harper, big free agent signing. JT Realmuto, free agent, right? Gene Segura, old friend of the Diamondbacks. Friend of the podcast. We've not had Gene Segura on yet, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
We like
Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, the list goes on. All of these guys came in as free agents, and you can see what money can do for you, right? Like the Phillies are probably not as good as they should be given how much money they spend. But if you're on the doorstep of the World Series like they are, that's what spending that kind of money can get you. And I don't think they have any regrets about that right now.
If you're still on the fence about deciding whether or not to root for the Philadelphia Phillies, I'll give you one more fact.
Oh,
Phoenix and Philly, the only two major cities in the United States that begin with PH. Just saying.
The only major cities in the United
there's
States?
a couple of others.
Are there others?
There's a Phoenixville in Pennsylvania that's very close to Philadelphia.
Really?
So if you want to even give you another reason, there is a Phoenix in New York as well.
Oh.
So there's Phoenixes, other places. We're talking about major cities.
Major cities. Okay.
No offense to those small cities or any of our viewers that might come from there. And you know what? Shout out to Brazil while we're talking about just random cities and places in the United States and the world, because we're still.
Is Brazil a city?
Brazil's a country. It's a country.
It's definitely a continent, right?
It's not a continent. No, it's not. It's on a different continent, though.
We're great with geography.
Stick to math, Jesse.
Who fucking gave these guys OGs, and why are they in the middle of my, discussion here, interrupting me? Actually, it's me. It's my fault, and I am the one guilty of taking OGs because, of course, as I've told you guys, it's the only way I can sleep. I kid about that, but it's the best night's sleep that I can get. They have a sleep edition gummy. They have a indica. They have a sativa. They have all sorts of strains. But most importantly, check out their sleep edition gummy. I know a lot of people are definitely interested in using edibles so that they can get a better night's sleep. And this is the exact way to do so. With their 2-to-1 THC to CBN ratio, their gummies not only help you fall asleep, but stay asleep. And they're deliciously flavored by our friend Aquaman. They're aquaberries. So make sure to check it out. We highly recommend you check out their entire variety of products over at ogsbrands.com or on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And again, we've talked about the haunted brewery tours and how much they scared Saul Bookman. And of course, if you want to be scared, not as much as him, because of course nobody runs through the haunted brewery tour screaming like Saul did. But you could go check out the wonderful haunted brewery tour over at Four Peaks 8th Street Pub. They're holding that Monday through Wednesday, 2 tours per night. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy their beers, but not the haunted brewery tour. So check out their website for that. Make sure you check out their wonderful food that they have over at Four Peaks Brewing Company. And if you don't get a chance to go out there, make sure to try their beers wherever you get your beers. Enjoy responsibly, and again, must be 21 years or older to enjoy. We're still out at Arizona Fall League, even when there aren't any Arizona Diamondbacks in the Salt River Raptors lineup, right?
We may or may not have checked the lineup in advance yesterday.
Right. May or may not, but we are your Arizona Fall guys. And of course, we are here with your Fall League update. Justin Martinez continues to show some electric stuff out of the bullpen, Jesse.
Yeah, he was really good yesterday. Honestly, the best that I've seen him probably by far. His command has been sort of all over the place at times in the Fall League. I think he still has an ERA of 6 after the outing yesterday, but you're not really looking at ERA necessarily very much, or some of those more basic stats at such a small sample size. But yeah, I mean, he topped out at 99.8 miles an hour yesterday. He was consistently 98, 99 with his four-seam fastball, and Derek, he faced 3 hitters and he struck them all out. So hard to ask for more from Justin Martinez yesterday. I know when we posted some highlights on Twitter, everyone was basically saying, just call him up now.
I was part of that group. Yeah, I was part of that group.
You were among them, yes. Isn't it weird, right, that like you can see a guy like Justin Martinez doing what he did, throwing 99 or 100 miles an hour, and it's just odd that guys can throw that hard and not necessarily be effective at the big league level. Like to be the realist here for a second, like if you put Justin Martinez in the back end of a big league bullpen tomorrow, it probably wouldn't go so well, right?
Sure.
So it's not as simple as just like how hard does a guy throw. But it does say a lot about how high his ceiling is and like the role that he could have in the Diamondbacks bullpen at some point down the road.
I feel like advanced concepts when it comes to pitching, like pitch shape and things like that, really don't start to get ironed out until they get to a higher level. I might be wrong about that, but I feel like that's part of the problem is sometimes at a lower level, they're really just trying to get them to work on their grip and like hitting the strike zone.
The biggest difference in my mind is command. Yeah. Like if you throw 100 miles an hour, it doesn't mean much. Like if you throw 100 miles an hour, that's unfortunately kind of normal now, as we're seeing in the postseason. It feels like every reliever that comes out of a bullpen in the postseason has thrown 100 miles an hour.
It's wild. in the strike zone. Like,
yeah.
With
but that's
stuff,
the thing, right? Like
movement.
That's what makes those guys effective, is that they know where it's going. Like they can dot corners, and there's an enormous difference between, being able to do that and being in a spot like where Justin Martinez has been in the past, where that command has been shaky at times. Yesterday, it looked really good. There were still a couple pitches here and there that were sort of uncompetitive. I think he spiked a fastball at one point. So those kinds of things still need to get ironed out, but it was a big step in the right direction for him.
I feel like another thing there is consistency, right? Again, you can throw fast, you can throw hard, you can throw in the strike zone, but can you do it for 20 pitches? Can you do it for an entire inning, an inning and a half, further than that, right? How deep can you go? But he is popping up on certain people's radars. Keith Law had some information on Martinez as well. So.
Yeah, Keith Law wrote a story yesterday on The Athletic. Definitely recommend reading Keith's stuff. I know he was a Paul Goldschmidt critic back in the day, and so some Diamondbacks fans have some animosity against Keith Law because of that. But
give him another try.
Yeah, his prospect analysis is genuinely valuable. And he did say that Justin Martinez, despite the velocity and how electric his arm can be, he said that his slider is not as sharp as maybe what you would expect. So Keith did not seem particularly impressed necessarily with what he saw. He was at least tempering expectations, talking about how the slider is going to need to improve in order for Justin Martinez to make it at the big league level. You can blow guys away with 99 or 100 in the minors a lot more easily than you can in the big leagues. Yep. These guys have seen that before. You're going to have another, plus pitch if you want to pitch in the back end of a bullpen. And I think he's still on the road to getting there.
There's also some concerns about Davison De Los Santos kind of being a bit out of his depth in the Arizona Fall League, just looking a bit like this typo that I put in our rundown where I said Davison De Los Santos. But against this level of competition, he hasn't looked very good so far.
He hasn't. 26 plate appearances. So again, it's so few at bats that you don't want to put too much stock into it. But yeah, he's hitting 143. He has a 308 on base percentage. He's walked a little bit, but all of his hits but one have been singles. He has one double in the Fall League so far. So it hasn't been a particularly impressive showing for De Los Santos, but he's also 19 years old and the youngest guy in the Fall League. So I don't think you were necessarily expecting him to come out and rake. It'd be great if he did, but I don't think that was the expectation going in. So something to continue watching. I think the defense is also something that I personally have been looking for. The games that I've gone out to, it seems like he hasn't really been challenged, so it's a little bit hard to gauge. But he's been used both at third base and first base. I think there are still some questions about his future and whether he has the ability to stick at third or whether a move to first base is in his future at some point. But reports defensively are okay. It doesn't seem like he's been too out of his depth on that side of the ball. So that's a good thing, but definitely something to continue to watch moving forward.
Cooper Hummel has not received hardly any time on the field during
he hasn't.
Arizona Fall League so far. He does just 5 at-bats. So, and that's understandable. Like, it was kind of not, I won't say it was strange. It wasn't strange for him to be out there, but Hummel was on the major league roster for the majority of the season. He also played for Reno and other, teams in the organization. It was strange just because after a workload like that to see a guy take on the Arizona Fall League, it seemed like a lot, right? So that kind of explains a bit as to why we haven't seen him that much yet, but I think we will see him as the Fall League season continues to roll on. And more importantly, regardless of how these guys are doing, the Salt River Rafters inexplicably continue to win since Jesse and I teamed up and went out to see them. It's
not inexplicable at all, Derek.
I mean, it really is. They're 5-1 now. They won yesterday 9-1. So if you need a reason to go out, it's because these Salt River Rafters are now winners, and you need to watch them as often as possible.
They have probably the best trio of position players in the Fall League. They have Zach Veen of the Rockies, who's hitting 457. Yes. He's absolutely raking. Outfield prospect for the Rockies. Yeah, Jordan Lawler, of course. And then Jordan Walker.
Another Jordan.
Jordan Walker, man. The giant 6'5", 265 guy from St. Louis, who I swear every time I go to a Fall League game and look at exit velocities, he always has the hardest hit ball. Several the several hardest hit balls in pretty much every game I go
bigger
to.
Each game, he's somehow larger.
Yeah,
than
he definitely also
game.
gets more buff as the season has gone along.
He's gonna look like one of those video game like characters designed by the the NBA Jams guys soon.
Yeah, right.
Here, Jesse, in all transparency, did have some criticisms about last night's game. Jesse sat in what he liked to call retirement row. I don't know what that means, but I think you guys could speculate on that. And he also tracked the journey of a dragonfly.
It was not a dragonfly.
Was it a lizard?
No, it was a lizard-like thing. I don't know my desert creatures well enough to be able to pinpoint exactly what this was.
I can figure out any math formula you need him to, but he doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a dragonfly, and then to double check, I googled what a dragonfly looks like. I was like, it's definitely not that. So yeah, it might have been a grasshopper. I think it's possible with some sort of a grasshopper.
We've been honest with you. You're not going to see the best baseball, and it's not always the most entertaining thing in the world. But I will tell you this much: it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The game of baseball is beautiful, and I still love going out to fall league games. Just because of the strange baseball atmosphere, you really do get, like we said, scouts, family members, and then like the most hardcore baseball fans you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it's just the scouts and the family members outnumber the other guys. That's all. That's what's basically I'm saying. Go out and see a game though. As a matter of fact, we're going to do a meetup for the home run derby. The Arizona Fall League has a Fall Stars game and a home run derby.
Both of which you should go to.
Both of which you should absolutely go to. Like we said, you're not only seeing the top talent in minor league baseball and some of these teams combined, but the Fall Star game, you're going to see the best of the best. So make sure to go check that out. The cream of the crop, as Macho Mandalorian would say. But make sure to check them out, and we will let you know more information on that meetup. We're going to be out. Me and Jesse, we decided we're going to be out in the lawn. If they let us, we're going to be out there on the hill. We're going to be catching fly balls.
If you're going to a home run derby, that's kind of the only place
where
to be.
you have to be.
Yeah.
So make sure to be prepared to join us. Bring a glove. I'm not going to bring a glove. Jesse's going to have to protect me the whole time. And I'll tell you, unfortunately, you can't get your tickets for the Arizona Fall League through Game Time, but you can get your tickets for pretty much everything else through Game Time, and you can save up to 60% by doing so. Make sure to buy your tickets at the last minute. I actually did this. Adam Sandler is coming to town, for those of you that might not know, and when I saw tickets went on sale, I almost did the thing. I almost bought the tickets. I was like, nah, you're not going to get me anymore. I'm buying them last minute with Game Time, and that's what you should do. Concerts, shows, sporting events this fall. Basketball, football, baseball, not baseball because we told you about the Arizona Fall League, but hockey, everything else that's going on. Make sure to get your tickets through Game Time. You get them last minute, you'll get up to 60% off your tickets. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description for this show. And also make sure to spruce up your home this fall with More Furniture. They have a fall sale going on at morefurniture.com, and you'll receive a $100 gift card for every $1,000 you spend. So not only are you saving on the furniture, but you're going to get gift card back. That way you can go pick up that end table that you forget to buy after you get the couches you need. But that's speaking like a married man that's only made that mistake 5 times at least in my life. But we thank you guys so much again for being here. Jesse will be out at Arizona Fall League. I don't know if I will be. Jesse needs to make sure that he tracks other wildlife out there while he's there. But
it was honestly a legendary journey.
He sent me videos, folks. I mean, he text messaged me videos. So
and I eventually posted one of them on Twitter, to which most people were like, what?
Why are you doing
Why are
this?
you watching this creature? But it was honestly insane. Like, this little guy started from the bottom, like the very bottom of the backstop behind home plate. And
now he was here.
And by like the 7th or 8th inning, he genuinely, I couldn't even see him anymore. Yeah. But I could tell he was there because there was like a little speck toward the top of the backstop. Just moving up.
Wow.
So
it's an inspirational story.
It was a very inspirational story.
It's like the Arizona
I don't know why
were where he started, and now they're at they're crawling up.
It was like an analogy for the Diamondbacks' journey, trying to get back to the playoffs or something. And based on the grasshopper, whatever it was, based on his story, I think there's hope. Well, I mean, just thinking about it more now is not going to necessarily help me. So.
All right, well, make sure to stay tuned to the Wildlife with Jesse Friedman pod coming here to the PHNX Sports Network soon. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. This guy is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. On behalf of Faj, Jesse, and myself, we appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much for joining us, YouTube. And remember, kids, baseball is so much. Look, I can't even do the ending.
Is it fun? I think it's fun.
Baseball's fun.
Is it still fun with the Yankees and the Astros in the ALCS?
Baseball's fun, but it's more fun when those two teams aren't in it anymore.